Yep, we're at meeting 4. Thanks to those who have joined us again. It's great to keep everybody involved here, because this process is really helpful to achieving the ultimate, which is achieving the community-wide broad goals for both Greenwood and Bridgeville, but also, you know, as we move forward, doing it hand in hand, arm in arm with Department of Transportation and doing things that way. So Jen, if you want to say a few words as we have these opening slides, and then we'll get into the public workshop coordination. Let's see how much of a lag there is. There we go.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We just have to go through all of the little housekeeping stuff, which is our mission, but this is really personal to all of us. It's every trip, every mood, every dollar, and every one. I'm starting to get notifications now of, we'll go to the next slide. When it's everyone, I'm starting to get notifications from friends and family of lost loved ones to fatalities across our state in 2023. It's been tragic still. This was the 2022 final number. So we haven't seen numbers like this. I think we had this meeting after. We haven't had numbers like this since 1985, 6, something like that. It's just not okay. Scares me. I almost kind of want to stop showing this and start showing pictures of the accidents. I've seen some vehicles go through fences. I've seen vehicles go into houses. I've seen things that are just wow. Like it's speeding. Like a lot of it's speeding, and then the fatalities occur because they're speeding, they crash, and then they weren't wearing their seatbelt. So, you know, again, harping on this because it's personal to all of us, especially when we are tasked with the safety of citizens traveling the roads of the state of Delaware. So moving on from that negative news, I'm gonna hand it back to Andrea for the agenda.
Yeah, so I think everybody that's with us has been with us before, so we can speed through the basic slides that we kind of recap our purpose and process. Then we'll really focus in on just coordination for the public workshop coming up in 2 weeks from today. So thanks again to the school district and the school, because we did go visit the school location, and we've got a good plan for having the evening meeting there, the open house. It's going to be nice, and we'll just need to make sure that between now and then we get everybody's help on this call to get the word out, make sure people show up. So we'll go through these items, and then at the end, for anyone who wants to stay on, we'll probably, you know, Jen and I and Gemma will stay on and do a little coordination. Bethany, I think we'll probably have a couple of things to coordinate with you on with regard to website and such. And if anyone else has questions or wants to stay on for coordination, we're happy to do that. Just as a reminder, like I said, we're really hoping that you all can help us get the word out. We've got another flyer we'll be sharing probably tomorrow or first thing next week that will have the link to the survey and such, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But that's really what we need your help with today, and then coming up at the actual event, you know, keep helping us get that perspective of what is the community view and how we move forward, because we'll be moving into the spring. I'll switch slides here toward coming up with that plan, that long range, again, transportation focus, long range 20-ish year time horizon for how to coordinate land use development and transportation toward goals of safety and mobility and economic sustainability and success and quality of life and so on. So we're just about here. We're kind of getting through the first few phases of the process. And as we get into the spring, we'll look at and talk a little bit at the end of this workshop about when we think would be the best time to have the next workshop. But that'll be later this spring, and we'll have a draft plan, and then we'll proceed and look forward to continuing working on implementation of people's of the goals, really the goals of the plan. I am seeing a few more people join, so it does look like everybody, though, that's familiar names. So if people have questions, happy to answer as we go, or at the very end, we can talk more too. So we are all set with the plan for the workshop to be in person at the high school in 2 weeks in the evening, 4 to 6. Again, it's a drop-in. We also have a weather contingency plan. So knowing Delaware and knowing this time of year, we never quite know what it's going to be like, whether it's going to be 70 or 10 degrees and snow. So we did set up March 23rd as a backup date. If day of it's like, wow, slick roads or something like that, we will make the call as soon as possible, in the morning or maybe even the day before. And then we'll just make sure that we get the word out through the website and through you all with your help, social media, that we will have to postpone. I'll talk about in a second here that we also have the online component that's going to be not synchronous. It's going to be available to people a couple weeks around the actual event. And so that's also an option for people who just, even though we'll hold the open house in person, if folks can't make it, we do want their involvement and perspective that way. So I'll talk about that more in a minute. Yeah, we've got the layout all set and we'll be having these elements. So a pre-recorded presentation, people walk in, they'll sign in, they'll go and see an overview presentation. So this stuff will be familiar to you all. Then we'll have a little visioning area where we ask similar questions that we've asked to you all about, what is your vision for the community over the next 10 to 20 years? We are looking forward to hopefully snagging some of the young people who will be wrapping up their school day and maybe participating in extracurriculars to get their views too, because of course, this is the plan that will lead to the future that they inherit. And so we're excited about the opportunity to hopefully get perspectives from youth. And then there will be an area where we'll have really a summary of a lot of the content you've all seen in terms of existing conditions. So highlights of the population and development dynamics and change that's happened recently in the current conditions. A bit about the transportation side, a bit about the environmental and economic development pieces. So it's just going to be a flavor, not super in depth, but enough for people to get their bearings and have that context as we talk about these issues. And then lastly, an area where people can look at a map, a large scale map on the table, give us their thoughts, writing on the map, pointing things out to us. So it'll be Jen, Gemma, myself, another colleague of ours, and then hopefully, a number of you will be able to be there and can help us, get people's views. Because I think in person, I've been to a few this week, and it just makes such a difference to have that in-person opportunity to really understand people and communicate. So I'll pause for a second. Any questions, concerns, suggestions? I know we've gone over this a little bit in the previous meeting. It's been honed, so getting all set. All right. Then that virtual option that we have, like I said, will really be self-help of sorts. Thank you, Bethany, for your help with getting things on the website and the work that is to come when we get you the materials and that video recording component. That will be on the page that's hosted by Bridgeville. Jen will have it linked to the Del.Dot page for this project. And people can certainly go in that way, see the highlights of material that we will be presenting at the workshop, and share their feedback through that survey. And I sent the test survey around yesterday with the agenda for today's meeting, hoping you all have had a chance at least to poke around in it a little bit. We intentionally made it brief, not too in-depth, but also with some open-ended options. So people that have the time and the desire to really share deeper, more specific thoughts have that opportunity. Pause for just a second if anyone has questions. Their thoughts. Okay. So I was not intending to go and bring up the survey on our meeting here, but it's, I think, about 9 questions. And the one that I wanted to draw everyone's attention to was number 5. It directs people to think about the community vision, the draft vision that we all talked about last meeting. And I just wanted to point out a few updates that we made so that it doesn't have anybody on this group surprised. We didn't really change any of the key bullet point items, but more so we added some of the definitions to make sure that as people from among the public are looking at this, considering the questions, they're on the same page, they understand what it is we're getting at. So for example, we broke out safety and sufficient capacity as a separate elements here. So we asked people in that question to rank 13 different items. And it seems straightforward. I would certainly love to hear if anybody on the call right now had found it challenging. Maybe you did it on your phone, or maybe you did it on the computer and something about it wasn't working quite well for you. That's what we'd hope to get your feedback on here today. So I will stop and see what folks encountered.
I used it on my phone and I didn't have any problems with it. So it seemed very, very simple. You just wanted us to test it out. You weren't real concerned what our priorities, what we selected, right? It was just a test.
Right, mainly a test, because we will have to reset it. And so if you did fill it out, we will ask you to do it again when we officially launch. We'll launch it the 21st is when we plan to do that, to coincide with having, the meeting. We don't want people to take it too much before the actual public workshop. Otherwise, we would fear that maybe they wouldn't actually attend the public workshop, and we'd certainly not want to discourage them from that. So exactly.
Anybody who doesn't pick safety first, you ought to just throw out the survey. That's just my opinion.
I checked it out on an iPhone and my iPad, and I had no issues.
Super.
Yeah, good news. Thank you guys so much for doing that.
Appreciate it. Okay. And did anyone, for that question 5 in particular, any concerns about, the wording, the definitions, confusion? Ooh, that didn't sound like what I thought it meant when we were talking about this. Anything like that? Okay. Well, like we said, it's a draft, and so we will, after the public workshop, Gemma, myself, Jen, will work on compiling a summary of the results from the survey. We'll bring it back to our stakeholder committee here and get your feedback and thoughts, and then we'll pivot to, really starting to orient toward drafting plan framework recommendations and having a plan later this spring. So.
And for those who just joined us, I did put a link to the survey in the chat if you don't have access to it quickly in your email. If you're haven't taken it yet, if you're able to after this meeting and just kind of give us the feedback, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess I should have gone forward a slide here to get us right to the survey, but this is the QR code. And like I said, we'll have that on the next version of the flyer. The last flyer was more of a save the date. This one has this detail of how people can get to the survey and information. It's not going to be live immediately. So on that flyer, we'll have a note that says it's going to be live from February 21st to March 10th. So a little over 2 weeks. We felt like that was about the right window of time to give people an opportunity, but also to not give them so long that they say, oh, I'll do this later, and then they never do. So the, let's see. Yeah, I guess I covered the timeline of it and how people can get to it. So we will look forward to sharing it. And that's where you all come in. Oops, didn't mean to jump. I did draft a flyer too. That's the one on the right that you all probably have not seen, but I shared it with the school principal at Woodbridge. Gracious enough that they would share that around in some form of an announcement for the young people. So again, hopefully we get them stopping by and can snag a few perspectives from the students. And we'll share the updated flyer, like I said, to speak with you all to circulate.
Andrew, just so you know, you're popping in and out again, but we also need to let, just a note to us that we need to let the principal know in time for her to do an announcement to the students in their morning announcements that we're having the workshop, and we invite them to join us.
Yep. Thank you. So we're really going through things fairly quickly. I only have a couple more slides. And that was kind of the intent. I held this meeting with the thought that hopefully we can really just touch base with everyone. So not that you would forget, but 2 weeks from today will be that public workshop. We do hope all of you will be there. Bring a friend, bring a neighbor, share your thoughts. And again, don't forget to take the survey yourself, because that is a good way of getting your view too. And just by testing it is not giving us the results, because we will have to clear the test surveys before we proceed with the official one on the 21st. All right. Looking at the next stakeholder committee meeting, it felt like March 16th. So about a month from our public workshop would be about the right amount of time to give us a chance to compile results and be able to prepare and have a meaningful next meeting. How does that date look? Maybe I'll phrase it this way. Please raise your hand or chime in if that's a bad date for anyone in particular.
Similar time.
Yeah, we've done it either 11 or around 1. Is there a, if
I'm
folks have
better
an
in the
opinion?
afternoon. Yeah, better
Okay.
in the afternoon.
I second the 1 o'clock.
Okay. Thanks for feedback. Okay, so I'm getting afternoon, 16th. Sounds like a winner. We'll go with that. And then moving forward, looking forward, this process will lead to a draft plan. And so we're anticipating, hoping to have that kind of ready. There'll be a rough draft, I'm imagining, around mid-May. And between now and then, we will want to obviously meet with this group as a whole. I anticipate Bethany and Janet will want to connect with you all, town managers, and probably dig into details a little bit more as well, answer any questions and coordinate some things. And as other issues arise, whether it's, school related or farm related or what have you, there may be some one-on-one more focused discussions with any number of you all or others that we should connect with that we haven't yet. We did reach out, by the way, to the Farm Bureau. So they are aware of this effort and haven't had a chance. They have not had a chance to join us yet, but there are stakeholders out there that we have been connecting with that you don't see all of these meetings. But certainly if you think of others, that's also welcome feedback anytime. So yeah, mid-May is kind of when I'm anticipating that next public workshop will be. We can talk more about setting a specific date. We'll get past this first one and then look to that.
And if I can just interject real quick. So kind of taking from the experience I had with the 5 Points Transportation Study on the eastern side of the county, the working group there, when they came up with kind of recommendations, which this draft plan will have some like short, medium, and long-term goals in it. What we'll ask of you all as stakeholders is to give us your priorities, right? Like we'll need to know, hey, this needs to happen sooner rather than later, even if it's something that maybe long-term because of the funding or because of other things, maybe we need to look at it a little earlier and try and see if we can front load some of the project and get it prepared so it happens sooner. Those kind of things are going to be important at the end. So thank you again for staying with us through all this process.
All right, and then the only other thing I wanted to do just a little special announcement, and certainly if others have the same thing, and that would be great. This is an opportunity for all of us to collaborate. There is an organization called Women's Transportation Seminar, and being that this group both involves young people and people that work with young people and transportation in the community, I just thought this might be something of interest. This chapter of this organization has a group of young women that get together, and that's what you're seeing on the screen, a timeline of their activities this year. It's Girl Scout organized, collaborative, and they meet up in the northern part of the state. But I thought if anyone by chance, works with Girl Scouts, or maybe the schools have an interest or a thought about how there might be ways to engage young youth, especially young women, in the transportation discussions, that would be something I'd love to hear about. And Jen, I know you've been involved with this organization. And so it's great to make sure that as we plan for the future, we also plan for the people that will lead us in the future. So.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Andrea. We're gonna definitely try and bring some of this downstate. I would love to be able to work with Girl Scout troops and some of our high school students that are looking for careers in civil engineering or planning or other transportation related fields where they might not think of transportation as an option. I mean, as somebody who was originally a history education major coming out of high school, I certainly didn't think I'd end up as a transportation planner. So, you know, it's definitely something I want to kind of impart on others as they're considering their career for the future. And it's a really good organization. And having been one of the Chesapeake Bay Girl Scouts back in the day, I love that organization as well. So looking forward to be able to do more and more of kind of the capacity building for our future leaders.
And with that, I would love for anyone else, if you have, related announcements or questions, for the good of the group, you can share them now, or if you want, we'll wrap up the formal part of the meeting and we'll stop recording, and then happy to take other thoughts and coordination issues as well.
So one of the other things I wanted to throw out at the people that are in education, I'm having a lot of conversations about buses. As people come into the area, I think there's a lack of understanding of how important it is for our buses to be able to get through our transportation networks, how safety should be, as you said, Heath, the #1 priority for everybody. But I kind of want more, and I know, Kevin, you have some buses, but not the capacity of what Heath is dealing with. Kind of want to know some of the struggles that the schools are having in regards to the buses being able to do their routes timely and safely, but B, also exit the campuses, because I'm hearing of people just like losing their minds over the school buses coming out of the school campuses, and I'm like, y'all know they got the right of way to do that, right? Like, why is there a question about this? I'm like lost. So any feedback from your schools across your district, let me know.
Yeah,
Jennifer,
Jen, if you want to
Kevin and I
stay
are the same
on,
district.
yeah, we're the same district. But Jen, if you want to stay
Okay.
on,
Yep.
I can give you some insight on what we're dealing with down here on our campuses. We did reach out, and we had a separate meeting with DelDOT a few weeks ago about one of our campuses in particular involving safety. So I'd be happy to talk to you after this meeting.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
I'll hang on. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because I've the flags are going up like every time I have a conversation with either about an incoming development or a project that we're doing. School buses keep coming up, and I'm like, why is this an issue? I'm lost, right? Like, so Don Blakey was my transportation director at CR when I was there, and I mean, I remember he stopped traffic in Camden, and the buses came out. I mean, I'm still, I guess, trying to wrap my head around why that's now a problem for other people. But yeah, let's talk about that.
People were kinder during that time.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Whew, man, God forbid. So yeah, I'll stay on. Are there any other, that's one of the things that was catching my attention. Is there any other concerns locally that anyone on the call can think of that you want us to talk about?
I had two things come up from citizens from the Greenwood local election
Okay.
that I hadn't considered, and I took a couple of notes just because I knew it pertained to this. And you may hear these things because when they brought them to me, I made sure to reinforce that we had this going on and that this was the place to be able to bring it up. One of them, I know we talked in Greenwood about the big delivery trucks going down Governor's Avenue, but they have a bakery coming to the end of South First Street, and that is an even smaller street. Some of the residents there are a little concerned about routing of the big trucks through that area. So you may hear about that. And one of the gentlemen with the recent information and legislature coming through about electric vehicles, how that will impact the public transportation. I know you guys had discussed that there wasn't a Del Dot stop in Greenwood,
Oh,
but how
mhm.
that would affect public transportation down here, if any of that was going to change, if there was going to be any extra accommodations for that electric changeover legislation that's coming down the pipe in this long term that you guys are looking at too.
I can get you more information on that.
Okay.
DART is getting ready to have, just so everybody knows, they're getting ready to have their public workshops. Bear with me. They are updating schedules and everything else. It is next week. Georgetown's is the 14th. Well, happy Valentine's Day. It's February 14th, 1 to 3, at the Georgetown Public Library. And that's actually a public hearing, which means when you make comment on things, it is recorded and it is an official legal comment. And then they're in Dover on Thursday, the 16th, the Dover Public Library from 4 to 6. You can still see Sussex stuff there. We, unfortunately, Kent and Sussex, kind of always get combined into the same group. And that's the one where I'll be attending. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it on the 14th, but I'll be at the one on the 16th in Dover. So please come, and if you have anybody who has any transit related comments, questions, they want to see the updated schedules, they want to see, what the future plans are for DART, please come, please have them come to those workshops. It's very important because they are DTCE.
What was the time for the, and I'm sorry.
That's for the which one, Georgetown?
Yes.
1 to 3. Did I say 1 to 3? I'm pulling back up. It is. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I clicked on Middletown by accident. Uh-oh. 1 to 3. Yes. Sorry about that. Because they need to hear that transit's wanted down here. I don't think they feel that people down here want. I think they feel like everyone down here is more vehicle reliant and likes that, which, yeah. I did, I don't think officer joined us from Greenwood, but I did get an email from the police station in Greenwood. They did ask for a speed sign. I'm not sure where it's going to be placed, but I did point them in the right direction to get that placed. So stay tuned for that. You'll hopefully see it. It's one of those flashing signs that as people drive by, it tells them what the speed limit, what speed they're driving, what the speed limit is, and then the speed that they're actually going. Yeah, look, yeah. That's a legislator funded thing. So yeah, it's just, I just had to connect her with Amy with the right person. So, yep. Trying to think what else. Bethany, do you have anything pressing from Bridgeville? Oh, no call option. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, folks. What we will do next time is have Jen, me, set the meeting up, because I do have a call-in option for Teams. So I apologize for that. And we'll make sure that that gets, and you've been spreading the word. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jen, I'm sorry about that too. I can do it next time from my account now that I'm in my home, my official new work home. So that's my bad. I apologize to everybody.
That's okay. No worries. We all are connected, which is great. Yeah, spreading the word. So I know for a fact I sent the information to DelDOT's Facebook page. So hopefully it's out there. I haven't had a chance to double check it, but I will. If anyone can share it on their personal Facebook page if you want to, or through the town's pages, that'd be great too. We're trying to use social media more often. I also just got notification that we are funded for a platform called Public Input. I will be attending training for that. That is going to help us do so much more public outreach and engagement. So you'll be hearing from me and seeing me all over the place in the next few months. So we can, as we connect, it's statewide. So we're going to try and connect all of our municipalities and all of our projects and our planning studies, and just have everything to be able to collect all of the data that we need to send to the federal government to justify all of the things that we do. So they just want to see that, you know, we're making an effort to make sure that the public is fully engaged. And that's something I am very passionate about as well. So very exciting times.
Well, if that covers key highlights, which it seems like everybody's been able to chime in, we can wrap up the meeting a little early. And for those who either haven't participated in the stakeholder committee and want to ask a few questions or just have other questions or issues, we will be staying on. So thanks everybody for coming. We will see you on the 23rd. Drop in. We'll look forward to having in person, and just stay tuned. Keep, you know, if the weather is looking questionable, we will be in touch, and be sure to get the word out there about scheduling it for the next Thursday, March 23rd.